Joining me live from Abuja is a lecturer, Center for Conflict Management and Peace Studies, University of Jos, Dr. Chris Kwaja. Thanks for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you very much, Amaka.
It's a drama, but that's fine. Now, tackling insecurity. That's fine. Tackling insecurity, as we see, was a key feature of this government's campaign 3 years ago. How do you assess the situation?
Just to say quickly that I'm with the Center for Peace and Security Studies, Modibo Adama University of Technology in Yola.
Okay.
In terms of the security threats we are dealing with in this country, I want to just categorize them into three. The first is the backlash in terms of some of the transnational crimes that we are seeing, down from the Sahel to the Lake Chad Basin. We are dealing with the Islamic State of West Africa, holding Mali, Burkina Faso siege. We are dealing with Boko Haram, that is holding Niger, Chad, Cameroon, and Nigeria siege. We are dealing with localized violence and other forms of deadly attack in terms of the current conflict between farmers and herders. But I'll be quick to also say that there is a need for us to appreciate the fact that in the context of what is happening in the central Nigerian area and other parts of the country, that there are two strands of violence we are witnessing. The first is the usual conflict between farmers and herders over access to and use of natural resources, land and water. The second component, which is the most frightening and devastating, is this whole question of organized crime, banditry, deadly attacks against communities that are defenseless, which the Nigerian government through the security agencies are increasingly confronting. But the most fundamental question is also about whether since assumption of office, the present administration has been able to put in place what we can call a security policy for this country.
Yes, and that's the question.
Beyond the security policy.
Yeah. Continue.
Hello?
Please continue.
Yeah, beyond the security policy, we also expect a peace plan. Because the situation we have today is that under the guise of responding to security threats, we have militarized the public space. Nigerians are becoming more traumatized because on a daily basis, the first set of individuals they come in contact with are military men that are armed. The police are a bit far from the citizens. That on its own is very problematic, which requires the government, Nigerians, to sit down. And we need a situation today in this country where government will galvanize what I call a national support around this issue.
Sorry, if I can just ask.
Unfortunately.
If I can just ask, is that what you mean? Is that what is, when analysts say we need something like a new security architecture, is that what they're talking about?
Yeah, we need a new security architecture. But before posing the question as to whether we need a new security architecture, the biggest question is, do we have a security architecture? What does it look like? What is the level of coordination amongst all the security agencies? A very good example here is, for instance, Nigeria shares border with countries that speak French. We don't have any English-speaking country. What kind of security strategy do we have in engaging this country? That on its own raises very serious questions about the kind of foreign policy initiative or plans we have with our neighbors. Because a lot of the security threats we are talking about today are transnational. Recently, the president talked about the fall of Gaddafi, and now it's linked to the role of mercenaries in Nigeria and other parts of Africa. That it's something that the new security architecture needs to respond to say in the context of the prevailing security threats we are having, or we are confronting, how do we begin to put in place building blocks to ensure that we address this issue? The second layer is what kind of soft approach do we need to? Which now brings in the question of governance. You need a leadership that has the capacity to manage diversity in this country. Because a lot of the issues we are dealing with today are backlashes of our inability to manage diversity. And because we have not been able to manage diversity, we are dealing with a whole lot of problems around a political elite that is more interested in election, or that are more interested in election than the future of this country, than the stability of this country. But where you have elites that are concerned, that have the buy-in of Nigerians in terms of the kind of strategies, the kind of responses that need to be put in place, it will make things easier for the security agencies that are out there trying to stabilize the country.
All right, Dr. Chris Kwaja, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the news at 10 tonight. Thank you.